We will call the Public Presentation Committee meeting to order. Council is conducting this meeting in person and via conference call in accordance with the Municipal Government Act, Section 199. Council chambers is open for public attendance in person. However, councillors and members of the public may still join meetings remotely using our current teleconference process. If the meeting is recessed, callers will be put on hold until the meeting reconvenes, with the exception at noon, where callers will be asked to call back in. This helps with call quality. Please note this meeting is being recorded and may be uploaded to our website and/or social media. To eliminate background noise, please mute your phone during the meeting. We also ask all attendees to please mute your devices to reduce disruptions to the meeting. Everyone has a right to be present at council meetings and council committee meetings. Any attendees that are considered disruptive to the progression of this meeting may be removed at the discretion of the chair as per the MGA Section 198. We thank you for your cooperation and understanding. And because we do have a councillor participating remotely, we will conduct a roll call at the beginning of the meeting. Councillor Laprise.
Present.
Councillor Bigger.
Here.
Councillor Eichert.
Present.
Deputy Brief Clausen.
Live and in person.
Councillor Kester.
Here.
Councillor Laurison.
Here.
And Reeve Link is here. We have an agenda before us. Does anybody have any additions or changes? If not, a motion to approve the agenda is presented.
Also move.
Thank you, Councillor Bigger. Any questions or discussion? I'll call the question. Councillor Laprise.
In favor.
Councillor Bigger.
In favor.
Councillor Eichert.
In favor.
Reeve Link is in favor. Deputy Reeve Clausen.
In favor.
Councillor Kester.
In favor.
And Councillor Laurison.
In favor.
That motion is carried. We have a 10:30 delegation, and I believe they have joined us a little bit early. I would like to welcome Representative Jackie Seeley from STARS. Good morning. And you'll just need to push the button on the microphone.
Good morning, Council. It's a pleasure to come back today. A lovely drive from the small town of Bazzano, Alberta. And this year, this year marks STARS' 40th anniversary of being able to provide the highest level of critical care across Alberta and Western Canada. So STARS is your best hope in a worst case scenario, and as a charitable organization, we continue to operate at no cost to the patient. And so I want to thank Wheatland County for your continued support. I looked in our records today and you've been supporting since 1991. So it is possible thanks to our many donors, and thank you for standing by our side. We're happy to report back to you that we did secure another 10-year service agreement with our largest donor, Alberta Health Services, and that is at $15 million per year in block funding. After that, we still must fundraise 56% of our operating budget. The STARS Lottery still continues to be our largest fundraiser. And then there's also several other portions where the funding comes from, as well as the municipal initiative. So this map will show you the different levels of support across Alberta and into northeastern BC. So we're thankful to have added, as the missions continue to rise every year, 10 more rural municipalities and 16 more urban municipalities. So over 95% of Alberta rural municipalities in support. And these are the different levels. So under $2 per capita are shown on the map. And then our sea of blue, which are our regional leaders. This includes Wheatland County, many of which are on a fixed rate of support and standing motion like yourselves. And then our municipal leaders are, on a much larger scale of funding, who've reached over 500,000 and have had logo unveilings on our helicopters in recognition of their support. Last year, Birch Hills County was recognized, and this year, Rocky View County will have another logo unveiling, so that we're really looking forward to that. Full regional partnerships are shown in red, which of course, leader in southern Alberta is Wheatland County. And we do have another one to add that isn't on this map yet, actually, the MD of Taber. All municipalities within the MD of Taber are in united support of STARS, so we're happy to share that as well. So it really takes the help of many to keep this going. Here is your 15-year mission overview. So in recognition of our 40th anniversary, we wanted to provide a little more history of missions in the area as well. So 462 missions flown since 2010. So that works out to around 30 per year. And of course, many of them are from the Strathmore Hospital, where patients who have been brought in by ground ambulance that are critical, STARS is then dispatched to pick them up from the hospital. So this is all of any type of person, you know, whether they live here or are traveling or coming through for work, show up on these statistics. And within Wheatland County boundaries, the Postal Codes Project speaks specifically to residents that have a postal code within Wheatland County. So as you can see, 192 total area residents flown since 2010, 130 that were picked up in Strathmore, and 82 more that were flown from 31 other locations across 2 provinces. In many cases, you'll see this right across all 4 provinces from BC to Manitoba. This is a quick snapshot of the day in the life at STARS, our mission log through the Emergency Link Center across all 6 bases. So we normally average 11 missions per day. On this particular day, 18 missions. Some of them were canceled for various reasons. Some of them, you can see that, say, mission number 3, where STARS actually flew the NICU team out to where the critically ill newborn was, provided critical care on site, and then transported the patient by ground. So STARS is available on all modes of transport, whether it be by ground, Alberta Health Services fixed wing, or our helicopter. To bolster our medical toolkit, we have added a new blood product. So STARS is always innovating, whether it be from our night vision goggles that are, you know, for over 20 years now, having that ability to fly at night, to the 4 units of universal blood that we carry on board, to then now adding this new medication for hemorrhage control. So basically what it does is it helps the blood to clot. So in severe trauma patients who may bleed out and that would need more than 2 units of blood, we're able to administer this blood product to give them the life-saving time that they need. This is our longest mission ever. This happened in fall of 2022, where Doug McTavish suffered a major heart attack. Basically, they drove out to where, you know, to a river, unloaded a boat, went 5 hours upstream, hiked up into the mountains and realized that he was having a full-blown heart attack. And he says, he can't go anywhere. So basically, it was getting toward the evenings. It was too late for search and rescue to be dispatched. So they said, well, why don't we try STARS? So through InReach radios, they contacted their emergency contact, who contacted us. And so the Emergency Link Center made all of the logistical arrangements and dispatched from Grand Prairie, going to Fort Nelson to refuel, and then G House, where the patient was. So at that point, it took all 4 crew members with packs on their back to go across the river, hike up into the mountain, assess Doug, you know, bundle him up, bring him back down across the river and into the helicopter, and then begin their journey back, which meant Watson Lake for more fuel, Fort Nelson, and then Grand Prairie. At that point, our crew went by ground by Alberta Health Services fixed wing with him to Edmonton. And so Doug is doing well today still. So all in all, 2,408 liters of fuel burned, 1,763 kilometers flown, 8.2 hours of flight time, and 5.3 hours with the patient. 1 life saved. So Wheatland County, as I said before, thank you very much for your continued support as with STARS. You are a regional leader, and we also appreciate the lift last year from previous support to $20,000 fixed rate on the standing motion that creates that long-term sustainability for STARS. So thank you for all that you do. In addition to the missions flown, of course, there's lots of scene calls in the area and interfacility transfers. We also provide that virtual care to the hospital here in Strathmore. So it's another way that we can be there for the next patient. So with our 40-year anniversary this year, a life is saved every day, but it's partnership that's made it possible all of these years. So thank you, Wheatland County.
On behalf of council, thank you for the work that STARS does. We know just with the realities of rural Alberta and rural Western Canada that having a service like STARS does save lives. My son was flown as a baby, and NICU team came out and picked him up when he was just a wee little guy. Incredibly grateful, and it likely contributed to saving his life as well. So we're overwhelmingly grateful for the service that STARS provides throughout our county and for our residents in some of their most difficult times. So thank you. We do have that standing motion, so it's good to have that support. I'm sure it's easier for STARS when they have those committed funds as well.
Absolutely.
We had discussed, and I didn't check with everybody, all of council, but in the past we had expressed to STARS that we really appreciate you coming out and thanking us, but we also realize there's some cost associated with that. And I think we're okay without you could just send even like a card or something, just so that we just want to ensure that as many dollars go into operational objectives as possible. So I'm not sure if there's a formal way to do that. We really do appreciate you coming, and we do appreciate the reports and the updates on the impact that STARS has for Wheatland County residents. But we also try and be as efficient as possible, particularly when tax dollars are involved. So I don't know if you have a mechanism for that, but.
Well, you know, there are a few options available. We could move to an online format, or perhaps, like, of course, you know, there may be some changes on council. It might be nice to come and, you know, meet council in person next year, and then maybe move to an online format. Or, you know, I want to be mindful of council's time too, that, you know, whether you want the full presentation every year or what is best, we could decide that perhaps next year.
That's a great idea. It would, I think, be good for you to introduce the program to the new council.
Yeah.
And then a decision can be made from there. I think that's a great idea.
Perfect. And I appreciate that feedback as well. Yeah,
Thank you
we
so
want to
much.
make the best use of everybody's time and the funding as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for joining us
You're very welcome.
and for sharing all the statistics as well.
I also brought the STARS 40th anniversary calendar with me, one for your fire department and one for council to have somewhere here. And so basically it's a then and now of many of our VIP stories, as well as a timeline in here of STARS history. So it's kind of a nice keepsake even after the year. So I'll leave that with administration as well.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you. Maybe we could just break for a moment and take a photo with Jackie and maybe do a post just thanking you for the calendars. Is Public Participation Committee okay with that? Okay. We will recess for, let's say, 5 minutes, and we'll reconvene at 10. Actually, let's try and be back at, well, let's do 10:42. Everybody, we'll call the meeting back to order. Councillor Custer, are you still with us?
I'm still here.
I think I heard you say you're still there.
Yes, you did.
Perfect, thank you. I've confirmed our 10:50 appointment is prepared to join us a little bit early. So I would like to welcome representatives from the Wild Rose Motocross Association. Please just come to the microphone, and if you want to just introduce yourselves, hit the button. That would be great. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chris Poland. I'm a volunteer with the Wild Rose Motocross Association, and I'll let everyone else introduce who they are.
My name is Dustin Hakinen. I'm the president of Wild Rose Motocross Association. We're not for profit.
And I'm Grant Schell, fond member of the track for many years, big moto family community, and we thank you for your time today.
Wonderful. Well, thank you guys so much for having us today. We have a short presentation for you, and then we're free to answer any questions anyone may have. What we plan to do is take you through who we are, why we're here, how we operate, some ideas of what we do, and then what we need from you guys. Starting with who we are a member-based nonprofit organization who operates a motocross facility downtown Calgary. We are in the heart of the industrial park, minutes away from the Calgary Tower. Many iconic shots that people have seen there. Why I bring that up is because our operations are very unique in terms of where we physically locate in terms of any other track in North America. Motocross is an interesting sport in that we operate on a closed course with purpose-built obstacles, and we need a certain size to be able to do that. That's very different than what people would think of as sort of dirt bike riding or more recreational, where you would be able to spread out over land or go out into the trails. We have a purpose-built track and multiple ones. We'll talk about our facility a little bit more in the further in the presentation. Why we're here. Since 1960, we've operated in our current location in Blackfoot, off of Blackfoot Trail. Knowing that we operated through a city lease and we were a leaseholder for it, there's always been an idea that the property could be used for something. Last year, we were notified that the City of Calgary had identified our site as the possible location for the new bus barns that will relocate out of Victoria Park. Earlier this year, they let us know that our site was selected, which gives us a limited future in our current location going forward. We had started reaching out last year to surrounding municipalities to identify if there were any municipalities who were willing to entertain a conversation with us. And Wheatland County was one of the first to respond, seeing the benefits that we could possibly bring and identifying a site, the old Gleason Reservoir site, that didn't have a current purpose, wasn't able to be used for farming or agriculture, which is currently zoned for. And this could present maybe an opportunity specifically around the recreation benefits, the social benefits, as well as the tourism and economic benefits that a track could possibly bring. We visited the site earlier this year. We identified that it would work perfectly for our location or our purposes. The soil composition, also the topography of the land would work there. So that's why we're here today. A little bit more about us. So as a nonprofit, we're dedicated to making dirt biking accessible, safe, and inclusive for all riders. We have everyone spanning from first-time rider, juniors as young as 3 or 4 years old, all the way up to seniors who just enjoy the sport. Not only that, we are a facility that is at the highest level of recreation. We host Canada's biggest motocross event every single year. Not only that, we are a training facility that has produced national and international riders, have gone on to win championships in that regard. So we do span the entire spectrum in a safe and inclusive environment from that purpose. Our facility. So we wanted to show you this just so you could understand how we operate, what we operate, and what it could possibly be. We don't have any sketches of the Gleason site. We wanted to just show what we do now. We operate on 88 acres in downtown Calgary. There's 7 tracks dedicated on the property. Everything from a peewee beginner track, allowing 50 cc's or first-time riders to ride in a place that the faster bikes are sort of separated from them, all the way up to the biggest facility, which we call the main track, that we are able to host. We have a pit area that we can host large events, bringing in campers. People come from all over the province, surrounding areas and country to camp at a site during one of our events. We also share the facility So we share the facility with Calgary BMX and the RC Club. And that's actually a really important part of who we are, is being able to expand and be inclusive to other like-minded or complementary sports as it makes sense for us. We also host every year the Mud Girl event and Spartan race. So we do also kind of expand out in that regard. Our operations, we are completely self-funded outside of a nominal lease that we pay to the city. We then completely run our own operation through memberships, through day riding fees, through sponsorship, and then events. So events are a big part of our revenue. But we ask for no municipal subsidies and we ask for no provincial subsidies. We are completely self-sustaining. The rest of this sort of talks about the different things that we do to operate, but it just, as a expanding on that, we operate downtown Calgary. We operate in a place where we are literally, hundreds of feet away from local businesses, a car dealership, residential. We've been any sort of constraint, concern regarding sort of nuisance or problems that a dirt bike track, we have figured out a way through noise mitigation, through dust mitigation, through track maintenance, through security features at the track, having staff dedicated to the park, to making sure that we have proper liability and indemnities to the municipality. So we've been able to overcome probably some of the most kind of strict rules that would be imposed on a facility of our kind anywhere that you find. Outside of that, we have great relationships with other tracks that would be much more similar to what the Gleason location would be. That being Drumheller, Raymond, Brooks, Lloydminster, Stettler. These are tracks that operate just outside of city boundaries and have been able to put in best practices in terms of how do you access the track, how do you maintain the track, how do you deal with noise concerns or dust concerns from neighbors. So we have that we can draw on not only our own experiences, but we have all these great relationships with surrounding tracks that would be much more similar to this location as we go forward. Just touching a little bit more on the types of events. So we do 3 levels of events that within the park. One of them is hosting our own local races. So we do that 6 times a year, 3 times in the spring. We finished on Sunday, and then 3 times in the fall. Those draw hundreds of registrants and thousands of visitors over a 3-weekend span, most of them camping or staying in local hotels as they come into the facility. We also host the largest event or motocross race in Canada, the national that comes, so the Triple Crown National. This is an international event drawing people from the US and drawing people from all over to come into Calgary and enjoy it. We also rent the facility out to the local regional races. So this is the local clubs, so the Alberta Old Timers Association, the Alberta Motocross Association, the Central Motocross Association. We do rent it out to the ATVs. So very broad spectrum of what we're able to do. We are busy about 10 to 15 weekends a year. The track operates with some sort of draw, and it's really the central location, and it's really the accessibility of why we draw. Outside of that, we operate every single day for casual riding, maintaining the track every single day. So it is busy, a very, very busy facility, drawing about 30,000 people per year. To run through some of the numbers, just so you can understand the scale of us, we at the end of last year, obviously with knowing our future could be limited, we commissioned a study to identify the social and economic benefits that our track brings. And what it came back is we have about a $7.1 million municipal benefit that is including salaries of the employees that we have at the track, the ridership, the tourism benefits, and support of local businesses who built their business because the track exists in its current location. The provincial and national impact are more travel and people who are coming in and out, but the direct municipal through tourism and benefit, 30,000 riders per year, 500 direct member or 500 plus direct members, and then the 10 plus events that we mentioned. Where we're at today, we need to find a new location. Obviously, our future is unknown. We have not been given notice, but we know it's coming. And we know finding a facility like ours, as we've identified, We need space. We're not like any other two-wheeled sport where a pump track can be sort of put in and maybe people can ride to it, or BMX track, which needs a much smaller footprint. We need a footprint. We need geography. So that's a benefit is, give us the coulees, give us the places that are hard to work with anyways, because that's what we want. And it makes actually makes our job easier. But we need to find a new location. And we are looking to work with a region who understands what we bring, who wants to bring that to their region, who wants to bring not only the sport of motocross, but also the benefits and the tourism benefits that we can bring. What we ask for from you, after discussions with the Wheatland Wheatland staff, they were very supportive of what we could do, how we could work, and how we could build a program that could work on this site. What they wanted to know is, would it be, or is it worth continuing to explore? We're not at the place of bringing a formal application today, a formal program. We know there are many hurdles and questions, issues that we could work through. We are very confident we could do that all. But what we're looking for is your endorsement to say, yes, continue to work with them and try to find a program that would be mutually beneficial to the region and to us, and an operation that could work. We seek only land. We're asking for no subsidies outside of a lease on the land. We will take over from there, building the facility, maintaining the facility, and ensuring that it operates in a safe and effective way for generations. And we're fully committed to bringing our full operations to the Gleason site, regardless of our future in Calgary. We believe that we could operate this, and it would be a benefit to the Wheatland County residents. Many of our members actually live in Wheatland County. If you drive around the area, you'll see tracks dotted everywhere. They're all members here. And we believe that we could operate even if we had to in both locations. With that said, we're ready to start working on it when you guys are, and we're happy to answer any questions that you would have about our facility.
Thank you for the presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
I guess maybe not.
Oh, sorry. No. Sorry about that. No question, just comment. It's unfortunate you're going the way same as Race City. I was a drag racer back in the day, and it's really unfortunate that that's not around. These are necessary, and to me, these are necessary things in the area. It's a different, sport is classified many different ways. I know rural Alberta, generally it's all hockey and different kind of things like that, but there's a whole bunch of people that do this kind of thing every weekend. I've been to many of these. In fact, I was there a couple weekends ago with my kids, 2 bikes, and you realize it's all volunteers, and it is very well run. Been to Drumhellers, it's very well run. It's a lot of work, but it's when you see the people that show up on these on a weekend, it's amazing the people that come, and this is all expendable income. These people are coming because they enjoy doing this. They're not. There is sponsorship from the bigger players out there. But it's I mean, I've been involved in this since I was a little kid. I used to go to Supercross in Saddle Dome when they had it, and it's just a great, I'll say redneck event, but it is what it is. It's what we are as rural recreation people. So I'm excited to see if we can make it work out.
Thank you, Deputy Reeve Clausen. Councillor Laprise.
Yeah, I was going to say something similar, just that I think it'd be great to see something developed in Gleason and see that community expand somewhat. I'd be interested if you could do some public consultation, do an open house kind of a thing in the community just to see whether the support would be there. And I'm encouraged with the comments about noise mitigation and things like that. That would be the one thing that I think people might be concerned about. Yeah, so I'd be interested if you were able to do a little bit of that, just to get a sense of.
Yeah,
how you feel about it.
if I can respond to that, we have actually had that discussion already with staff. That would probably be a step that we'd have to take to do so. You know, I don't think we would ever be able to like completely, you know, address the perfect balance of like no noise and noise. Obviously, there's going to be sides, but there's lots we can do and modified hours and lots of ways through best practices we can handle that to find the compromised, you know, the compromise between both of them. But we would be absolutely prepared to have those conversations. We also, because how we operate and how we set up, there are other things that we, could even go further and do in terms of a trial day, bringing insurance, ensuring everything was indemnified, and showing what we can do with our members on the site and how it could operate. So there's lots of things that we can do with endorsement from you guys that we can move forward in sort of different ways. One of the good things about motocross track is that we're not going to be building massive permanent infrastructure on the site, right? So, working towards, obviously a permanent long-term home, but, even temporary and moving all of those pieces around. There's lots of ways to structure this to ensure that everyone's concerns are addressed and we get a proper trial of the site.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're never going to get 100% support from every community member, but it is kind of an ideal location, being it's kind of in a bowl, and that might help with noise. Might be coming up over top, but I get it. But yeah, it's definitely an interesting idea. Might be a really great location for it.
If I may, what we were thinking is to stage it out a little bit. So if there was interest, perhaps do a single a day. I don't know what would have to be done on your side, but obviously we'd insure it, and do an invite-only day with, say, 30 bikes of different sizes, so that the interested parties could see, okay, this is the kind of people that are coming out. This is what this would look like. We just lay out a little course around some cones. There'd be nothing done to it, and then you could get an idea of the noise and everything else. If that's successful and still maybe not convinced, we could go a step further, have an open day where we're getting a little bit more interest, or even a small event, and then before a full lease. Because I understand that, a council wouldn't want to go in to say, hey, here's your 10-year lease, and then you're saddled with this problem that, all of a sudden people have issues with it. So we would be happy to do some various trials and stage it up, and see if that's working, and keep moving forward.
Yeah, I love the staging idea too. That's a really good idea.
Councillor Bigger.
I'm quite excited about this. You mentioned camping, because these are mostly weekend events. Do you have a camping area that you guys?
Yeah, it's one of the things that makes the sport of motocross unique, is that not only do we need land for a track, we need land for people to park and bring trailers and haulers in. It's our pit area, is what we call it. It sets up as a camping area where everyone sort of comes, but it's part of what also makes this community so unique. So even when we have the largest events with the nationals and international pros coming, there's an amateur component, and that component comes, and this is where it starts to become interesting, not just from a recreation facility, but to the benefits that Gleason could have. The location is far enough away that we believe that nuisance mitigation can absolutely be done, but I can guarantee the local businesses in Gleason, and some businesses will actually grow and flourish because of this. Even a busy weekend, just casual riding would probably move the needle in certain ways, just gas stations and liquor stores and food and these different sort of support businesses. And that's where we talk about our knock-on economic event. But yes, they do come, they will, and our spring series is an interesting one, where it's 3 weekends back to back to back. So we'll have people from Northern Alberta and from BC come, and they'll actually leave trailers, and they'll go home to work during the week, and then they'll come back because they know they don't have to pull them back and forth, and they'll camp there as a place to. So it's not a campsite per se, but that is how it's supported.
Any other questions? Yeah, I'm not hearing any significant objections, so it sounds like it could be something that would be worth continuing exploring. I think a strong community engagement plan will be critical for having the community understand the steps that you're willing to take to mitigate things like noise and potential dust and things like that could potentially impact adjacent landowners. I think we want to engage with Siksika Nation as well, just because there is some proximity to the nation. We have had a good relationship with Chief Crowfoot, but it's important to early on to bring any potential projects to Chief and Council so that they are aware of what's being contemplated. In terms of municipal economic impact, I really, and the other impacts, I really appreciate that you did a study and that you have quantified some of those impacts. I think it would be exciting, not just for Gleason and Wheatland County, but I think there'd be a lot of ripple out economic impact for our adjacent neighboring municipalities, which would be excellent. Of course, there would be processes to work through with our administration around like traffic impacts on the road and things like that that would need to be addressed. But I think you're at a scale that you can look at some of those things. Like has already been stated, I really appreciate the idea of a trial day where people could actually experience the reality of what noise might be created by the riding and that type of thing. But like Councillor Laprise said, there is some, I think, and you referenced the topography of that site that could be beneficial in terms of helping to mitigate noise naturally as well. Yeah, so Public Participation Committee obviously can't make any decisions. Obviously, we need full applications to come, and our administration is excellent at working with applicants to bring complete applications to council or MPC for consideration. But at this point, I think we appreciate hearing how considered your approach is and the steps you're willing to take to mitigate some of those impacts. So I guess I would encourage you to continue exploring this. I'm assuming you might have some other sites that you're looking at as well, but yeah, I think it's an exciting thing to consider. So, but I do anticipate there will be a lot of questions from the community as well. So if you could work with our administration on a community engagement plan and try and get ahead of that as much as possible and anticipate those questions. Deputy Reclassen.
I forgot to ask, the RC and BMX track, are they on their own? Or is there a possibility they'd come to?
That's a great question. We actually just met with the RC group yesterday, and they are willing to come with us and set up a facility. They don't believe they can find, they need a much smaller footprint, but they don't believe they can find something that sort of meets all of their needs in a similar way. And I was actually really interested to hear how many people travel to their events because their facility is so good. They are willing to come with us there. Calgary BMX, not so sure. But we are also in discussions with other groups who are looking for, once again, complementary. It's tough what we do and making sure they work together, but it's part of what we do is that, you know, whenever it makes sense, absolutely, we'd want to bring more people into the sport that we can.
So, there's an unofficial RC club in Wheatland County for flying planes and stuff that I know of. Probably not permitted, but they do it. But my biggest recommendation would be when we sit in this chair, it's easier to make a decision when you have public support. So the more public engagement you do and more support that you have from the neighboring people, it makes our job much easier. And that's just the reality. If I tell anybody that wants to develop something different, make sure you get the support because that helps a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely, I really do. And I think, you know, as Dustin said, that was been well communicated to us, and we've been thinking about how to stage that approach. I do have a question for you guys, just sort of next step. Are we, like, would we be moving to formal application or just continuing the conversations to move to that? Or is that just a conversation we can have with staff and kind of what
That would
next?
be at your discretion.
Okay.
With conversations with our staff. They're good advisors in terms of walking potential applicants through the process and what the expectations are and timelines and things like that. But I would encourage you to sit down with our staff and just figure out what those next steps are.
Okay, that'd be a great next step, and we can book that meeting.
Yeah. Well, thank you for the presentation and the information that you've provided. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for the time.
That brings us to the conclusion of our Public Presentation Committee meeting agenda. So we will adjourn that meeting.
Oh, just a point to the chair. Would it be possible to make just two motions to accept
for
both presentations as information?
Certainly. A motion regarding STARS.
I will make that motion.
Thank you, Councillor Eichert. Councillor Eichert has moved to receive the presentation from STARS for information. Any questions or discussion? I'll call the question. Councillor Laprise.
In favor.
Councillor Bigger.
In favor?
Councillor Eichert.
In favor.
Reeve Link is in favor. Deputy Reeve Clausen.
In favor.
Councillor Kester.
In favor.
And Councillor Laverson.
In favor.
And that motion is carried. A motion regarding the Wild Rose Motocross Association presentation.
I'll move to accept.
Thank you, Councillor Laprise. Any questions or discussion? I'll call the question. Councillor Laprise.
In favor.
Councillor Bigger.
In favor?
Councillor Eichert.
In favor.
Deputy Reeve Clausen.
In favor.
Councillor Kester.
In favor.
And Councillor Laverson.
In favor.
And that motion is carried. Now we will adjourn that meeting.